Good evening from Bucharest, Wolf. Thank you so much for joining us at NewsHour with CNN tonight. Such an honor to have you on our show.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. It's my pleasure to be with you, and I'm glad you're in Bucharest. I'm here in Washington, but Bucharest, I've been to Bucharest. It's a beautiful city.
It's really nice for us hearing you say that.
When do we hope to see you in Bucharest again?
I will look forward to that.
You have been working for CNN for almost 32 years. What made you stay on for such a long period of time?
It's been a pleasure every single day. It's been wonderful. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. My parents loved watching the news. They were news junkies. And as a result, I was a news junkie, even as a little boy. And I get up every morning, and I feel blessed that I could make a living. I get a salary. I can pay the bills by doing something I would normally even do if I had become a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant or whatever. I love following the news. I'm always curious what's going on in the United States and indeed around the world. And I feel blessed that I could make a living doing something that I just love doing. I get paid to be a news junkie, and that is a real, real blessing.
I think, in my opinion, that this job is the best job in the world. Wolf, what, in your opinion, makes CNN different from all the other media outlets?
In my experience, CNN, and I go way back to when Ted Turner hired me many years ago, 32 years ago, and Ted, the founder of CNN, he always used to say to me, remember, Wolf, the news comes first, because we're the cable news network. We're not the cable entertainment network. We're not the cable sports network. We're not the cable business network. We're the cable news network, and our viewers rely on us for news. News in the United States and news from around the world. And that makes CNN different because we are committed to reporting the news as fairly, as responsibly, as thoroughly as we possibly can. And we're willing to invest and go all over the world to do so. We have we have journalists basically every place. If there's a breaking story any place, we can get there quickly, and we can report the news. And I think that commitment to doing so makes CNN unique.
Wolf, the main story these days is the war in Ukraine. CNN did amazing work in covering this event and relaying the information to the audience. We personally went to Ukraine in the conflict zone and reported from there. So how do you, as journalist with such experience, see the world changing in the context of ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine?
What's so depressing is to see what the Russians are doing in Ukraine right now. Ukraine really represented no threat at all to Russia, and the Russians moved thousands and thousands of troops and armored personnel carriers and tanks and warplanes and launched these strikes, and we've all seen the images. Our CNN colleagues who are on the ground in Ukraine are risking their lives to report the news and to do so accurately, fairly, responsibly. And I'm so proud of them. They're doing amazing work, as you guys know as well. And I'm just thrilled that CNN has this front row seat to history. As someone who has covered, going way back to the bad old days of the Cold War, I remember vividly, I was in Moscow in 1991 when the end of the Cold War supposedly occurred, when Gorbachev signed an agreement ending the Soviet Union, 74 years of communist rule in what was then the Soviet Union. And I was there, I was reporting from Moscow on that day, and it was one of the most exciting moments of my career. And then CNN immediately sent me to Belarus, to Minsk, to report on the first meeting of what was then called the Commonwealth of Independent States, the former republics of the Soviet Union. So I went there and reported on what was going on, and I remember vividly saying to myself, I'm an eyewitness to the end of the Cold War. And during the Cold War, all of us were so worried about conflict in Europe and elsewhere. We were worried about nuclear weapons. And with the end of the Cold War, it seemed we were entering a whole new era. And we did for a while. But in the last few months, sadly, there's been a return of the tensions of the Cold War, And that's been very, very depressing to me and obviously to so many others. I hope it ends, and I hope it ends soon.
We hope that too, Wolf. Over the years, you have interviewed the most influential people in the world. You have covered the main story. What was the moment that you were the proudest?
I was proud of so many moments in my career since starting to work at CNN, and I've been blessed that CNN has sent me around the world to interview world leaders on many occasions. And it's really a blessing as a journalist to be able to sit down with a world leader, whether a president or a king or a prime minister or a queen or whatever, and ask serious, fair, but tough, important questions. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my career. And it's really been a blessing. I've interviewed almost all of the presidents of the United States who have been president while I've been a journalist over these past 32 years. And that's always exciting. But I remember one of the most exciting moments was when CNN sent me to South Africa in 1998. And I was in Cape Town, and I was invited to sit down and meet with Nelson Mandela, who was the new president of South Africa. We had toured the prison where he had spent years earlier during the apartheid regime, Robben Island. And then he invited me to the presidential home in Cape Town for an interview. And it was just wonderful to hear his words, because despite the awful history that he had under apartheid, he said the country now needs to move on. No time for revenge, no time to go back and punish those. We need everyone in the new South Africa to work together to build a new country. And he did exactly that. It was a very inspirational interview that I had with Nelson Mandela, and I was very proud of that moment. I'm so excited that CNN sent me to South Africa to cover. He was just emerging. He had just come in as the new president of South Africa, the first black president, clearly, of South Africa. He was a hero. He did amazing work. He was very courageous, very brave, and it was just an exciting moment in my career.
Wolf, we celebrate 1 year of activity at NewsHour with CNN. Do you have a message for us? Maybe some advice?
My message for you is the same message I give our CNN friends and colleagues all over the world. The same message that Ted Turner gave me when he hired me. Remember, the news comes first, and just report the news fairly and responsibly. It's great to have breaking news. It's great to be first with a story, but it's much more important to be accurate and precise with a story. So when you have news, go out there, make sure it's right, and as I said before, give the aggrieved party a chance to respond before you put it on the air, before you report it, and make sure that you're just doing it in a responsible, fair way. I know you guys in Romania are doing that. I'm very proud of all that you're doing. I'm proud of all of our CNN affiliates around the world because they do what Ted Turner wanted all of us to do, report the news, and to do it in a fair and responsible way.
And as I learned at the CNN fellowship that I was, Wolf, facts first, right? This is one of the principles at CNN, the most valuable one. Wolf, thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for having you. And with your permission, could we have a virtual selfie, if you are up to?
Of course.
Perfect.
Of course, I'm very proud of you. Congratulations. Congratulations to our CNN Romania affiliate for doing the great work, the NewsHour with CNN. You guys are doing amazing work. We're very proud of what you're doing. Thank you.
Perfect.
Let's definitely do
Let's
a selfie.
have a selfie.
Let's have a selfie now.
Sergiu. Thank
Done.
you so much
Thank you
again.
so much.
Thank you.
Will you text me a copy of that picture?
I'll do it on Instagram, of course. Yeah, we follow you, so we'll send it to you via Instagram.